If you travel southwest in Georgia, and just before you hit that Florida or Alabama line, you reach my hometown of Donalsonville, Georgia. I often travel home to spend time with family and friends, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing the first African American mayor of Donalsonville, Mr. Ronald Johnson Jr. Guys, welcome Mr. Johnson to the show. All right, hey, welcome back to Miss Dre. Listen, y'all, I told y'all I have some dope people that I meet on a regular basis, and I have some dope friends. So today I have the first African American mayor of my hometown, Donalsonville, Georgia, Mr. Ron Johnson. Welcome, welcome. So listen, we're gonna just talk about what it's like in the life of a mayor. What are his ups and downs, his highs and lows? What are some trials and tribulations that he's facing? Being that he's a family man, how does he handle and balance that? So, you ready to get into this?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me
on. Okay, awesome. So, let's first introduce yourself and tell us, I guess your background, your family, where you're from, and education and things of that nature.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ronald Johnson Jr., the mayor of Donalsonville, Georgia, first African American mayor. Background, education, Florida A&M University graduate in 2010. I have an associate's in an associate's education and a bachelor's in history.
Okay.
I teach sixth grade social studies. Associate pastor at my church.
Wow.
Coach football last year, middle school.
Okay.
Been married going on 10 years, September 29.
Wow.
We have one son together. He's 9, Emmanuel.
A lot of hats. So I see you pulled, and you're not just here working for the city, but you are really working for the city, working in the school system, working with middle schoolers. My hats are off because middle school, that is not my thing right there. Look, I know how I was as a middle schooler.
Right.
I don't want no parts of it. Look, they might be taking me downtown.
Right.
So yeah, middle school, can't have it. And look, you flew through that FAMU thing. So you're FAMU alumni.
Mm-hmm.
So how was that on campus?
I tell anybody, like, going to HBCU, it's different. It's a different feel, like the camaraderie, unity, and it's like, the education of your heritage and, the things your ancestors went through.
Right.
It's like, that's something that I wouldn't, trade for anything in the world. I met my godmother, one of my professors and my academic advisor. He was in my wedding. He was one of my groomsmen. My godmother, her name was like in the program of our wedding. So it's like, those lifelong relationships that you form at a HBCU.
And I often hear that because I wasn't so fortunate. I went to Georgia State, it still was a good school, but just to have that that bond, build that bond and connection at a HBCU, that everybody say you get that family feel.
Right.
And my daughter goes to HBCU, and so when we go to different events, and so you start seeing the same people, and it's like it's almost like a family reunion every time they homecoming. Most definitely.
Right, big.
So yeah, I understand that. So while you were at FAMU, do you think they nurtured you to be mayor, or was it to be an all around good guy? So how was that experience as far as preparing you for mayor?
I mean, my upbringing comes from being from a single parent household. I was raised around women, so it's like at my core. It's like, I can do the things that a woman can do, and then that also helped me in the sense of, the stigma that most like African American males have, not having a father and a positive role model in their life. It's like, it helped me in terms of my, my vantage point.
Gotcha.
And when I got to FAM, Dr. Jackson, Professor Wolford, Professor Guzman, Professor Young, it was like seeing like men of my color, in those positions. With PhDs, working on PhDs.
Wow.
It was just one of those things that was like, I want to be like that.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Right.
In the sense of like being headstrong, that's another thing. I've always been the type of person, if you tell me I can't do something, I'll show you.
I'm gonna do it.
I ain't gonna argue with you.
Good.
I'm just gonna show you. So it's like, in the grand scheme of things, I was 10 years old and I'm sitting down at the bank talking to the mayor at the time.
Wow,
and he's like, what you gonna be when you get older, little fella? Like, I'm gonna be the mayor one day. And he sat up in the shade. He was like, "You gonna do what?" And I'm gullible. I'm 10 years old, and I'm like, "I'm gonna be the mayor one day."
Right.
And I never forget the look on his face. He was just like, "Yeah." So it's just one of those things. It's like, you know, from a little boy, God showed me visions, and certain things have come to pass up until this point. So just continuing to walk in it.
Gotcha. So as you say, you were talking to the that was the president of the bank.
Correct.
At that time, was he the mayor then?
He was the mayor too.
Okay, but you didn't know that.
No, I knew it.
Oh, you knew it.
I was 10. I was gullible.
Okay, so you basically telling him I'm gonna take your job. Right?
Well, I ain't, you know, at 10, you know, I didn't think about it like that. But I mean, you know, it's things matriculated over the course of life. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much, in a sense.
Right. And then I think it was, you know, good that you had that that confidence to say, I can do what you're doing.
Right.
Because at 10 years old, you know, sometimes we look at, I know for me, looking at the president and looking at the first lady and different things like that, it's like, wow, it's almost like it's untouchable.
Right.
But then when you had the mind frame, like, oh, I'm going to do what you're doing. Right. You know, that's what I want to do. And so that's good that you were able to have that outline at such a young age. Right. Because I know some, you know, things change as you go to school. But look, you're the mayor, so you spoke it and you did it. So that's awesome. So throughout, so you were 10 then, so that's elementary. So going through middle school and high school, did you continue to nurture that, or you just kind of, you know, went about things and just like, what's your focus on? Okay, I got to do this because I'm about to be the mayor. I got to make sure I'm doing this because I'm going to be the mayor. Did you have that focus like that, or did it just kind of continue to grow little by little?
You know, it's crazy, little by little. It's like, you know, I said it, and then it's like, I hate to say it, I just left it alone. Gotcha. And then everything else, like, just came into place because, you know, even in terms of, like, the decisions and the choices that I made, I knew that it was going to have, like, a lasting effect and a lasting imprint if I wasn't mindful and careful.
Right.
So it's like, you know, I wanted to be a teacher. And then it's like everything else just fell into place in the dynamic of what's my purpose. Gotcha. Because even now, one of my struggles is, you know, one of my struggles is purpose versus money. Because I'm not making the money I want, but I know I'm walking in my purpose. I'm walking in my purpose in the sense of the spiritual, or like, you know, ministry, in terms of the youth, in terms of the community. And then it's like my father-in-law told me, he was like, you know, me being headstrong, he was like, you can't live in the world by yourself. I'm here because of other people allowed me to step on their shoulders. Right. I'm here because of the people that voted for me. I'm here because of the people that didn't vote for me. Gotcha. So at the end of the day, I'm not here just because.
Just for, right. Yeah. And so, and it's good that you say that, because like you say, it's not just for you. It's not just about you. It's about those that have paved the way for you, and those that you're paving the way for. Right. So it makes a big difference. So as you went on to, I guess, start to campaign, did you realize the impact that you would have on the community, on little black boys and little black girls, allowing them to see you make it to this next level?
And it's crazy because it's like, you know, I relate to a lot of people in scripture, like David's one of them. And I often talk about, you know, when the prophet came to Jesse's house, he was like, you ain't got none other son. Right. David was out in the field tending to the sheep. And then it's like the scripture talk about his daddy was like, you know, he called him a runt. And I've always identified with my being consecrated, you ain't gonna fit in. Right. You know, being set aside, you're not the norm. You're like not one of the cool kids. Gotcha. So it's like in all of those things, you know, for me, just finding my own place and being okay with it. It's okay not to run with the cool kids. It's okay. You know, I ain't got on J's and got on like the nicest suits.
Say that again. It is okay.
And it's
you don't have on no J's.
And it's crazy. I think about like my students now.
Right.
I shouldn't say it, but it's like my impact. I feel like it's a disconnect because I feel like, you know, with the other side, they view me more as like somebody to look up to than others. And it frustrates me in the same sense though. I was one of those kids that had a choice because I didn't have mom and dad. I didn't have structure. I didn't have stability. My mother did the best job she could. My grandmama did. My great grandmama, and like the village that helped raise me. Yeah. Most of which were women. But it's like it's crazy because even now I see it. But then another thing, I never get caught up on. I guess, and something that my best friends and the people close to me have told me, they hate the fact that I don't relish in like, you know, the win. I'm so focused on the end goal that even when something comes to pass or it's a victory, it's like, all right, that's good. Now we move on to the next. I don't never just sit there. Okay, we need to pat ourselves on the back. We need to throw this grand party because it's okay. We still got work to do.
Still a lot of work to do. A lot. Wow. And I'm so glad that you said that because that's been my focus too. Just having the kids understand that as long as you got shoes on your feet,
right.
It does not have to, because guess what? Jordan got his money.
Right.
And you steady giving it
right.
to him when he come out
right.
with a brand new pair.
Right.
So, and I try to teach my daughter, she's 20 now, to save. You don't have to buy the next, the first best thing that's coming out. Everything that comes out, you don't have to always upgrade.
Right.
This phone still work.
Right.
Look, you better use it.
Right.
So that's good to setting higher standards and looking towards, building that generational wealth instead of spending all your coins.
Right.
So, what are some of the obstacles that you face on the campaign trail? Or no, let's go back to when you said, I'm gonna run for mayor. Like in your adulthood, and you're like, okay, well, I'm at the age, I have all the qualifications to run. What was that conversation like, and who you had the conversation with?
I had a conversation with my wife.
Okay.
And it's crazy because it's like, the first 2 times around, my wife was like, I won't vote for you. And it's like, I'm thankful because it's like she's honest and she's transparent. But your pride is like, what you mean you ain't gonna vote for me? And her thing was like, it's not time. And one of the most frustrating things in life is when you feel like it's time, but God, like, it ain't your season yet.
Right. Wow.
And it was like the third time around, she was like, it's time. And I'm learning even now, there are a lot of things that are said to me that come through my wife.
Wow.
Because she's my better half, and it's like, she has discernment. She has things that I don't have. So it's like this past time, it was just, it was divine. It was predestined.
Wow. And so how long had y'all been married when you ran?
8 years.
No, not when you ran. The first time when she said she wasn't gonna vote with you. How long had y'all been married then?
A year.
Oh, okay, okay. So she knew you had some growing to do.
Oh, no, I'm lying. Was it 2 years? It was 2 years. 2 years. 2 years.
Okay.
2 years.
So she knew you had some.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
She like, look, you ain't ready yet. You ain't ready for that. And then because not only, like you said before, it's not just you. It's you bring her family, your family in. And so even in the midst of that, I see stuff on TV and watching the news, like you get scrutinized. So like I said, you bring in everything that your family got going on. If they got some dirt, somebody's gonna try to pull it up.
Right.
So I felt like you said, that discernment, like, okay, no, you're not ready, we not ready.
Right.
Let us prepare a little bit more and make sure that it is a win. Because she knew that if you went into it prematurely, it probably would have been, a defeat, and it probably could have, defeated you mentally. And so, good goal, wife, telling him the truth. Staying straight.
And she said the same thing you said. Right.
Wow. So now when you get on the campaign trail, what are some of the obstacles that you had to face going?
The biggest thing to me was mindset. Like, we didn't understand, like, the significance and the importance of voting. Because I heard it a lot. Like, I'm like, hold on, who is they? They not going to let him.
Right.
It ain't no way that he going. And it's just those mindsets. That was the biggest thing, and even now that's like the biggest obstacle, because my thing is, your way does not mean that you're right. My way does not mean that I'm right.
Right.
We can come to common ground.
Right.
If it's for the betterment of the city and the citizens, it's a no-brainer.
Gotcha.
But a lot of it too is people with their mindsets. They want the glory, they want the praise, they want the accolades. I ain't studying none of that. Long as we get to the common goal.
Right. Gotcha. For the greater good.
Right.
The greater good.
Right.
That should be the focus for everybody. So you had to go door to door.
Yeah.
Trying to solicit these votes.
Right.
What was that like?
I'm blessed. I had the world's greatest campaign committee. My church,
Cool.
New Vision Christian Center, Sister Church, New Hope. And then it was like a whole nother like committee that was helping behind the scenes.
Gotcha.
But it was like over that course of 2 months, it's like just getting out, interacting with people. And you had them naysayers. You had them people, again, mindsets. And it's like if you can condition your mind, then everything else will follow. but just the stagnation of the mind. But it was so fun, just the interaction, the camaraderie. You know, it was just fun.
Oh, okay.
So
what was one like the most bizarre questions that somebody asked you on the campaign trail?
I didn't get asked the question. No, yeah, I did. It wasn't a question. It was a shot that was taken at me that still resonates with me now. And it was about like, you know, me being questioned as a leader. But I'm like, you can't lead if you haven't been led. If I ain't got no field experience, if I don't have any training, how can I lead people? I lead them all right.
Right.
To death.
Right.
To
In the
defeat.
hole.
Right.
Right.
And it was like, you know, I still wear that to this day because, you know, I don't know if it was because of, you know, my pigmentation. I don't know if it was because of I ain't got a master's degree yet or whatever.
Gotcha.
My age, but it was just he a good guy. I know that, but I don't know who he is as a leader.
As a leader.
And I'm the type of person too. There's a lot of things I don't know. So why wouldn't I listen to people that have been there, done that? Or listen to people that's in the role, in the position. And a lot of people, in terms of mindset, why should I listen to him when he listens to other people? But I have a whole advisory council of pastors that pray for me, that hold me accountable. So people don't understand the ins and outs. They see it's a position of power. It's a position of influence. Because I don't want power. Because if I have power, you doing the things that I'm telling you to do based on the fact of fear for me, as opposed to I'm influencing you or I'm allowing you to see what it is that I feel is best. Gotcha. And that don't mean that I'm right or wrong. That's just my convictions. And you either gonna say, okay, I feel you, or I don't, and that's fine.
Gotcha. And so, like you said, they don't see that it's not just you. You have the advisory board. So you have that. Y'all often have like those conversations where you.
When I need advisement on an issue, something, and another thing is too, I still pray and I fast about myself.
Right.
And I say mine. I say it in a position of stewardship, not ownership.
Gotcha.
I say it in the dynamic of God placed me here. He can take me from here, but in the dynamic of where I am now, I have to pray and I have to seek God. Wow. People don't understand that though. They want me to be like this Billy Bad behind guns ablazing. This what we're gonna do, and that's not the way.
Today, now.
That ain't the way.
Gotcha. Well, that's amazing that you still, you know, even in the position that you still have your faith and you have, you know, your prayer walk that guides you. That it's not that you just waking up, oh, we finna do this. We about to sign this executive order and, you know, this, that, and the third. So now how did your faith, how did it change, or did it increase as you continued on the campaign trail?
It had increased because I've always been the type person. So many times over the course of my life from a little boy, he always fought for me. A lot of times I didn't have to say nothing, and even now it's the same way. People see it as like, you know, I'm laid back, I'm quiet, but we all got that act the fool button. We all got that button, but it's like, you understand? So even now it's like, but in this position, I lean on it more than ever because of the simple fact too, now it's not just me and my family. It's also the entire city. You got a whole city. Even the ones that can't stand me, ain't gonna speak. How you doing? And don't open their mouth.
Look, guess what your title is.
Right.
Bingo.
So I'm still gonna pray for you. I'm still gonna speak. Right. You have people that they want your demise, but you still, God bless you anyway.
You keep pushing.
And keep pushing.
Keep pushing. Wow. So when all the votes are in, y'all waiting for, you know, and I saw some of the videos. What's going through your mind? What's, you know, the sweat coming off your hands? Sweat coming off your forehead? What's going through your mind at that time?
By that time, I was at peace because it's crazy. Like, I did just like Jesus. It was 3 times. I left and I went out the side door and I went and prayed 3 times during the whole process. So that last time when I came back, I'm just like, okay, Hayes in the barn. God, you got this. And I turned into Gideon in an instant because I'm like, no, if it's really meant, then, you know, this is what it's going to be. And that's what it was. So at that point, I was fine and I was cool and it was done. And somebody told me that somebody approached me and it's like I didn't even think about it. And they put something in my hand and they was like, when they did that, I already knew what it was. It was done. And this was before votes started coming in.
Gotcha. Wow. So they was already basically ordained in a sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Okay. So now walk us through what is a day like in the life of Mayor Ron Johnson Jr.
And then the sis of mine really just fielding phone calls, educating. I done had people call me, I need you to expunge my record. I done had people call me like, I need you to get my wife out of jail, and I'm like, hold on, time out. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right.
So then I educate. But really the main thing is like influence and trying to make Donalsonville better for every citizen, trying to make Donalsonville grow.
Right.
And trying to exercise the demons of this dormant mindset that's over this time. And it's coming. Don't get me wrong, it's coming. It's coming slowly but surely. And I feel you.
Look. That's why I left.
And it's crazy because, and it's like I tell anybody, you know, I can't fault nobody for leaving. I'd be a fool to sit there and say, stay. But
right.
when I left and went to college, and I knew I was gonna come back. I knew I had to come back. Gotcha. It was like it was his path for me. And it's like, you know, even the things that I talked about in the dynamic of one thing, I'm gonna start talking about annexation. People ain't gonna hit it. But if we can't get a McDonald's and a Burger King and all these things that people want because of our numbers, but if you got a part to play in it, you educate, and each citizen has an active role to play in their government.
Right.
And it's like, you know, when you over there talking all that stuff, okay, come in, I'm tired. Let me go to the sideline, you get in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
See what you can do.
Right. Right. Because it's going to take all of us to get this McDonald's and Burger King and all this stuff. Yeah.
So they want McDonald's, Burger King. With the numbers, and look, I'm just going way off.
No, you good.
Would that, you know, how many more fast food, you know, can come in and be successful? So you got to look at it from a business standpoint.
I know that. But then when you got like 25, and I know probably the people that's close and watching this, now they're going to be like, well, Cock got a Burger King. Absolutely right. But they don't understand and know what the stuff went into getting that Burger King, even though we're bigger.
Gotcha.
So when we talk, and I say we, the few people that's doing the groundwork to with me, the few of us that's actually calling and trying to get something here, whether it be Zaxby's or Jack's or Japanese Steakhouse in Mariana, all of these places that we've reached out to, the first thing they say, what's y'all's population? And the thing is, too, we have to support what we have. But then in the same token, how can I say you got to support what we got when the product that you getting is not?
Ain't quality.
So it's like, you know, you got to look at it from all sides.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
But we trying.
Okay.
Slowly but surely, we trying.
Gotcha. Now you say you are a teacher, middle school.
Yes, ma'am.
How does that correlate? You know, how do the kids respond to you as being mayor?
Most of them is crazy. It's almost like, you know, they see me as like a superhero or something. And it's like, I mean, I don't view myself like that, because if you cut me, I'ma bleed. I feel the same way other people do when they feel a certain type way about a certain subject or situation. But they view me as like, you know, and it's crazy because I know I got students, grandmama, auntie, mama that can't stand me, but then they still view me as like, you know, in this positive light. That's like something that's been so humbling to me. And it's like you actually have kids that are like, you know, 12, 11 years old that is still, even though they may not like you, I adore you. And it's like patience and resolve. Those are two things that I take away from being a teacher, because a lot of times in this seat, people do this. And instead of you flying off the handle, you just like, are you listening to me? I'm processing what you said. I'm listening and absorbing, but there's no sense in me making an irrational statement. So let me see what you're saying. And then when you get through, and when you get through talking, I'll be done processed it. Then let's have a dialogue. Right. And resolve, like, even times when I mess up, even times when I slip, falter, I gotta keep going. Yeah. They'll fix it and keep pushing. Right.
Now, when you said about, you know, you have some students that parents or grandparents, whatever, can't stand you, it just goes back to the saying that hate is not innate. You're not born with that. It is taught.
It's taught.
You see that. And one thing I can say about this generation, a lot of them they don't just follow what their parents are doing or what their parents are saying.
Mm-hmm.
They are getting the information and coming up with their own their own perception. And I think that's a good thing, because it's allowing us to have that dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when it comes to racism, especially when it comes to just being you know, that form of discrimination, because we have that interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, mama, you shouldn't think like that just because, you know, you don't know that person. And so I have seen a lot of videos where the kids are calling the parents out. And I think it's a good thing as long as you're doing it respectfully and having that dialogue to get the parents to see, like, the old way ain't always the best way. Look, we need to make sure that we understand a person for who they are and what they stand for, not just because of what color they are. So that makes a huge difference. Wow.
Paramount.
Right. So when, you know, I guess, how does your wife or how does your family feel like, you know, when you're pulled away, or have there been times when you were pulled away from them and it's like, well, you know, we don't see you at the house that much, or, you know, are you pulled that much where your family time is limited?
I was from the onset. And then it's like something that my wife taught me was the concept of boundaries. She listened to Sarah Jakes Roberts a lot. Okay. She's definitely like helped me with boundaries. You know, it's okay to, no, I can't. I want to, but I can't.
Yeah.
Or it's okay to be like, maybe later, as opposed to, okay. And a lot of times, you know, I'm so used to doing that, dropping everything I'm doing to accommodate. And another thing too is the whole concept of mental health. I'm learning that now to be 35. It's like, you know, my tolerance for stuff and my endurance for things is good. In the same sense though, eventually when I get to the place to where it's like I ain't got nothing else in the cup, who gonna pour into me? Right. Yeah. So boundaries is definitely something that she taught me, because at first I would like every weekends gone. Wow. And you know, my son like, you know, where Papa at? Where my daddy? Because I was out doing things. Gone.
And look, prioritizing. If this is not on the top, no, we're not about to. I'm not about to adjust my schedule just because either you forgot to notify me, or just something fly by night that you want me to attend to. Nah. Look, it'll get it put at the bottom of the list. I get to it. So yeah, that is a good thing. Making sure you prioritize. So once you know you got that balance, how has it, you know, affected your relationship at home and then your relationship here in the city?
I feel like it's been more well balanced and more well rounded, because I guess like I think about the Vitruvian Man. It's like, you know, you're one person, your husband's one person, I'm one person, and it's like, you know, we have this big circle. And it's like if we're not equally distributed in all of the parts of the circle and all of them slices, then somebody gonna come up short. And then it's like, you know, as an oath of office, like even before we came in here, was a citizen, you know, I was helping her because it's like she's a senior citizen and she has mobility issues. But something like that, you know, even with y'all was, you know, patient. And, you know, very considerate of me trying to do that. But it's like in the sense of, you know, being more well balanced with everyone. Everyone else gets, I guess they share the pie. They're equal, share the pie.
Gotcha. And I think it helps because you can get more done, like you said, being patient, being understanding. Like, if it's not a priority, then it can wait a little bit. I'm gonna, you know, I didn't say no. I just said, wait a minute. So that makes sense. I think we talked about it, but not as much. Have you ever experienced that imposter syndrome, and how do you handle that?
I feel that way every day. I'm my worst critic anyway. So it's like, you know, regardless of how many people are saying, oh, you doing a great job, I'm just like, But it's like I think about this I'm not doing. In terms of imposter syndrome, it's crazy because it's like, you know, in terms of consecration, being set apart, I don't fit in nowhere. I don't fit in my pigmentation. Or I don't fit in because he not really one of us. You know, and I mean, I talk about sometimes Uncle Tom, but people don't understand, you know, if you really do your research about what Uncle Tom is, it's like, that's not an insult, it's a compliment. But people don't understand.
Look, break it down, because I always thought it was an insult.
Oh man, it's so much. It's like there's so many terms that are used when you get down into the nuts and the bolts of it, how people feel like it's a compliment or a word of affirmation. It's a word of like, you know, it's like destructive criticism.
Gotcha.
So it's like in terms of Uncle Tom is what people see it as a yes man, but I went to fame. I read the book.
See,
I read the book. I read the book.
Don't go by what you think.
I mean, in a sense, he's a sacrificial lamb in the dynamic of he's going to do what's best for the masses of his people. Even when they don't understand, they feel like he's just going along to get along. It's for y'all's betterment. Do you want better, just like Booker T. Washington and W.B. Du Bois. W.B. Du Bois, like, nah, we can do our own thing, tally to 10. And then Booker T. Washington was, no, we got to go along to get along.
Yeah.
And then it's like you start talking about unity. You take those two and put them together and don't divide them.
Gotcha.
Shaq and Kobe, Tupac, Biggie, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. And even in the end, they started to come together before, you know, the assassinations.
Yeah, right.
So it's a bunch of stuff.
Right.
But if we can get past the mindsets.
And I guess compromise. Because like you're saying, putting somebody like Malcolm X and Martin Luther, I feel like I've always been that Malcolm X type person. Look, by any means necessary.
Right.
But then you look at like the concept that Martin Luther King had, like, you know, like you said, you know, go along to get along and trying to make sure that we all are living in harmony. So I think, you know, like he's coming from both sides. They can be work together for the greater good. So that makes a whole lot of sense because that should be the ultimate goal. It should just be me.
And people don't understand. It's like in order for us to come to common ground, it's got to be different people in this room. We can't have like the same people in the room and expect this revolutionary. You know, it ain't gonna happen. You need different people of different backgrounds, different social classes, different intentions or motives, whatever word you want to put at the table. And it's like, you know, prime example, you know, Rock and I did a live and it was scrutinized at first. But after that died out, people understood it's folks he can reach and it's folks that I can reach that he can't, and it's folks I can't. We not together. We can get everybody that's in that spectrum.
Gotcha.
But at first people were like, no.
Why is he going? Yeah, I can imagine.
But it's like, I need people like him. I need people like women that are Caucasian, males that are Caucasian. We're all needed.
Yeah, you need people on both sides of the tracks.
Right.
So that we can all come
But
together.
that's a scary thing, you know.
Yeah.
To a lot of people, that's a scary thing.
Because, and I think a lot of people feel like, oh, if we're just saying yes and everything is going smooth, then it's good. But it has to be some opposition for it to be some growth.
Of course.
Because if everybody is like agreeing to it, then where is the growth? Where is the change going to come from?
And I always say, we can agree to disagree. But it's like, and then other than, I would much rather you disagree with me to my face.
Yeah.
Than for you.
Great idea. Right. As soon as you leave the room, killing you.
Exactly. Because again, what have we really accomplished if we're at the table and everything can be discussed at the table?
Right. How many more times can you be reelected?
It's unlimited by our city charter.
Wow. So they can just keep running up in there, like on and on and on until your grandkids come.
If the Lord see fit and if the folks, you know, it's unlimited. I think the longest seat of mayor, if I'm not dead wrong, and I could stand corrected, I think it was 29 years.
Wow. Wow. So what is something that, I mean, as mayor, you feel like, I know we talked about like the restaurants and things, what is something else that you want to see changed here in Donalsonville?
I mean, one of the things we're talking about with the money that we've come into is we've set aside $300,000 for community enhancement. And one of the things I ran off was like at the fairgrounds, getting something there for the citizens. And we, as collectively as a council, we want the same thing. We want something there. We're still trying to figure out what to happen. That's something huge. Industry. If we can get industry out there at that 139.6 or however many hundreds of acres that is out there down in the industrial park east, that'll be huge.
Wow. Okay. Well, that sounds like a plan. So you're saying doing something for the citizens, this would be something for adults and kids and seniors.
Yes,
wow.
ma'am.
Wow. Yeah, that is something that's much needed. Much needed here. in Donalsonville. So now you're up for re-election in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
What is something that you think you'll do different on the campaign trail?
Engage the citizens that I didn't get a chance to meet.
Mm-hmm.
While the committee was getting people registered on across the track, I was over here knocking on doors, and then I ended up over there.
Gotcha.
But it was like I had to split because they was like registering people, and I was meeting and trying to register people as well.
Wow.
So that was a big thing. It was a lot of people that I didn't meet, and they, for whatever rhyme or reason, they don't even know me to say that, you know,
that's right.
He cool or he ain't cool.
So I know Donalsonville is such a small town. Are there debates? Like, do y'all have like debates or whatever where the citizens can come in and listen to your side on certain issues and listen to the opposing side on certain issues? How does that work?
I'm laughing because we actually had one Tuesday night. We had a special call meeting. And it's like, again, it's like citizens have an active role in their government. And it was like, this was the first meeting, you know, actually citizens actually came. Gotcha. And, you know, they voiced their opinions. They stated their positions, and we came to common ground the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
So it's like when we have those, and it's in the paper, like my city manager said, they put that stuff in the paper. The public is welcome to attend.
To come.
But then it ain't Marcus Garvey said the best place to hide something from putting on a book. We ain't gonna read. Or if you put it on the internet, do you got the subscription to where you can click on Donalsonville News and then
get
because I read it every week.
Right. So the population of citizens. How was it? How were the demographics?
When you say demographics,
the demographics. What was the percentage of white attendees and what was the percentage of black attendees?
Are you talking about at the meeting?
At the meeting, yeah.
What, 16-1 in terms of in the audience?
Wow.
16-1.
Wow. Wow. So, okay. Growing up in Donalsonville, I know we have at churches. We have a lot of announcements. Do those announcements, are they sent to the churches? You think that may help?
They ain't sent to the churches.
They not. Can they be sent to the churches?
I mean, I'm pretty sure we can make a way.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I think that would be a good option. Send it to the churches, because if I didn't make it to church, my sister made it to church. And so she'll say, well, you know, they made an announcement. They're going to, you know, we were just talking about, we need to go down there. So let's go, you know, put this on your calendar. So I think that may, you know, it's worth a try.
Right, I ain't never think about it.
So that would be a good place because, you know, a lot of the elderly, they're not on Facebook.
Right.
Not on Instagram, so they won't get that notice. And like you said, some of them read the paper. They might not read that part.
Right,
you know, they might not read that section of it. So if word of mouth may get it around a bit better. And then, you know, for our age, to get the word around, just even if they don't have an opinion on anything, but just come in and see how things are run and see what's said. Because a lot of times they may feel like, well, he don't think this way, and not really knowing. And I always say, go straight to the horse's mouth. And that way, you know, if you're coming into these meetings, then you're being educated, and then you know what Ron Johnson said in the meeting, what Sarah said, and what Mark's, you know what I'm saying? So you're not assuming, or you're not going by hearsay. So I think that is a good idea to make sure that everybody is aware and, you know, come in and see for yourself. That's one thing that we were just talking about in our town, you know, just going and being aware of what's going on and what's being done, what's being discussed for the city as far as growth. So, yeah.
And y'all are young, too, which is beautiful. That y'all are young and y'all actually have the mind to actually go.
Right. Because if you don't know, you can't complain about it. Just, you know, making assumptions.
Even though I'm a taxpayer citizen just like... You are, but it's other stuff to just paying taxes.
You gotta speak up, because, you know, even with me just saying about putting that announcement in the church, somebody in the audience may have an idea that y'all never thought about. You know, everybody that's here, you may not have even thought about it. And it's like, oh, that makes sense. Let's see if we can work that out and get that around. So I think that dialogue is really good. And I feel like this generation is opening that. Because, you know, us growing up, it was like, kids supposed to be seen, not heard.
Stay in your place.
Right. If you don't have that title, we don't want to hear you speak. So, coming to that common ground. And so for me, being I'm not here 24/7, but on the outside looking in, I think you are doing, you know, a great job. And, you know, keep pushing, keep praying, because God is not going to steer you wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
So I appreciate the work that you're doing, and still going out there with the middle schoolers. That middle school.
It's rewarding.
So
but
I think so.
Someday.
My hats are off to you, and I appreciate you for taking the time out your schedule to do this, to speak with me. And look, we'll be back.
Yes, ma'am.
We will be back, because we got to see what's going on. Look, we may have to be on the campaign trail with you, just get some footage and stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Look, greatness awaits, so y'all keep looking out for Mr. Ron Johnson. I appreciate you. We'll see you. Listen, thank y'all for rocking and rolling with me. Listen, you can always like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow me on The Real Miss Dre Instagram and Miss Dre on YouTube. Thank you. God bless. Smooches.